So what does this mean for the Tea Party, the Republican Party, and for the country? For that, we will go to the All-Stars. Joining Nancy is Bob Schieffer, our chief Washington correspondent, and John Dickerson, our political director. Bob, Cantor had been trying to moderate the image of the Republican Party as a party that cared about people's needs. What does this defeat mean?
Well, I think what it does, Scott, is just really underline how wide and how deep the divide is now in the Republican Party. This is like 1964 when you had Eastern, more moderate Republicans headed by Nelson Rockefeller, and then out west, the very conservative Republicans headed by Barry Goldwater. They never closed the divide in 1964. As a result, Barry Goldwater got beat and beat badly in that presidential election.
John Dickerson, I wonder, how do you see this? Did Bratt beat Cantor, or did Cantor beat himself?
Well, one Republican strategist said the Cantor campaign was guilty of political malpractice. The majority leader traveled a lot, raising money for his party, but that meant he wasn't home defending his turf. That's perhaps because his pollster said he was well ahead in this race. Cantor's numerous attack ads also, they introduced voters to his relatively unknown opponent, David Bratt, without harming him. And then Cantor took positions, particularly on immigration, that hot-button issue, that were at odds with his record. And Bratt seized on that and said Cantor was soft on illegal immigrants, and said this proved that Republican leaders in Washington had lost touch with their voters.
And Nancy, here's one of the things that's strange about this. Cantor was an early supporter of Tea Party candidates. He went around the country and raised money for them. What changed?
Well, he was a very vocal, very high-profile advocate for the Tea Party agenda initially, but over the course of the past year, he began to back away, particularly after the Tea Party lost some of its luster in the wake of the government shutdown last fall. That really angered some conservatives who came to see him as a fair-weather friend.
And finally, Bob, the midterm election, of course, is in November. Does this defeat of Eric Cantor change the national political landscape in any way?
Well, I think it probably does. Republicans are going to have to decide what they want to do here. People who look at this from a national perspective, the national candidates and consultants and so on, say if the Republican Party is going to be successful in electing a presidential candidate in 2016, they're going to have to find a way to appeal to Hispanic voters. Yet the congressional candidates for Republicans, they don't have most of them, many Hispanics in their districts, so they're not as interested in that. Between now and these coming elections, Republicans are going to have to decide who and what they want their party to be. And right now, that's up in the air. No one can really answer that question.
And not much hope for immigration reform anytime soon. Bob Schieffer, John Dickerson, and Nancy Cordes, thanks very much.